You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur's Enigma podcast. I'm, as always, your host, Seth. It's been 250 episodes, and I've always been your host, so it's kind of not surprising here. Today I have Natalie Doyle Oldfield, who is the president of Success Through Trust, and she's also a prolific author. I mean, anyone that's written a book is prolific, but you've written two. One is actually coming out the day of this release of this podcast. I mean, it wasn't even planned that was going to happen. She's like, "Can we get on the show?" I'm like, "Absolutely." We chatted and all that stuff. And I said, "All right, so you're going to be on." Oh my gosh, the day of your release. So perfect timing. Of course, this is exactly a month before the release when we're recording this. But I'm very excited. Natalie is the author of the current book is The Power of Trust: How top companies build, manage, and protect it. And then the new book is called Trusted. So there's a trend here. Trust. And there it is. She's got her props. Love it. The proven path to customer loyalty and business growth. Love it. You've been named one of the world's top thought leaders and in trust for the 5 consecutive years. Woohoo! So she actually kind of knows her stuff, which is kind of nice. Not just any old person on the show kind of thing. She lives up in Nova Scotia, and she likes to travel, book clubs, golf, which I have never figured out golf. Last time I played golf, I threw the club. But if you're good at that, you like to sail, which kind of makes sense when you're in the Maritimes of Canada. You should be sailing because it's freaking gorgeous up there, and you have some young adult kids, which is fun. So you've done it all. I mean, when we talked before, you said you started in corporate. So you started in the corporate, you had a family, woo! That's crazy. So how did this whole journey get started? Clearly you know your stuff, which is kind of cool.
Well, thanks for having me, Seth. First of all, and I should tell you, I'm not good at golf. However,
you don't have to be good at golf. If you don't throw the club, you're good at golf.
Well, like most entrepreneurs, though, I don't give up, and I'm resilient, and I keep wanting to learn more.
It's a good place to kibitz, though. It's a good place to kibitz. Yeah, and chat.
It's a great place to kibitz. So you're right. I have written a new book. It's called Trusted: The Proven Path to Customer Loyalty and Business Growth. And I'm so excited to share the details of that book with you.
Absolutely. We'll get into it. Yeah.
And I did spend a lot of my career, the first 20 years or so, in corporate.
20 years in corporate, you survived. Wow. I survived a year and a half in corporate. And I was like, nah, this is not for me.
Well, I was very fortunate. I always worked with teams and people that would empower me and
that's fantastic.
Allow me to do my thing. And I love working with customers. So I was always in marketing and different product roles and sales roles that I was on the front lines and helping to develop and create products for customers. So
that's fun.
It was great. And while working full-time in a software company.
Ooh, it's even more fun because software companies it's like I've worked my corporate. I was working for call centers and kind of boring old school kind of stuff, So software's fun. Software's fun.
Well, you learn a lot in a call center, though.
I learned a lot. I learned about what an IVR is and why they don't work very well.
Well, that's true. However, in my last position, I was working for an amazing company, and I was asked to take over the sales role, and I did that. And while taking that over, I then realized none of us want to be sold to, and I had to figure out how to do this. So I actually went back to school.
Oh, wow.
Did graduate research and found that we all buy from companies we trust and
Yeah,
from people we trust.
exactly. Like
So
no and trust factor. Exactly.
it's all about trust. And so my corporate journey was actually had an amazing career working with lots of companies.
That's fun.
Not where you are in Doylestown, but I did work in Connecticut, which is kind of close.
Oh, so you were in the States too.
Yes,
'Cause, I mean, if you
and
can tell, she is definitely from Canada. What she says about. So.
yeah, and I also worked in Atlanta, Georgia, for
Oh
a few
wow.
years,
Atlanta's
and
fun though. I hear Atlanta's a fun town. Hot,
it
hot,
is.
very hot. When you're from the north, it's very hot. But yeah.
It's hot but fun.
Mhm.
And so when I started my company, Success Through Trust, 11 years ago now,
Oh wow! Congratulations. You made it past the hump. You made
thanks.
it past the 5-year hump, which is awesome.
Well, yes. And
Which I think is
there is,
arbitrary. I feel like you either know or you don't before 5. I feel like that's just a number that people put out there that's like, oh, 5 years and you've made it. I've seen people make it 6 and say, we didn't make it, that kind of thing. So I feel like
you know
that's an
what?
arbitrary number.
I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah.
I've heard the 7 years.
Oh,
So,
really? We both made
yeah.
it past that, thank God. Whew.
And, I can see the 5, the 7, because it's a commitment to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And I know for me, when I started working full time, when I founded Success Through Trust, I really did it because I wanted to share all the proprietary tools that I had created and developed
That's fun.
and the evidence based strategies to build relationships of trust.
You had
And
actually something to tell people, which is cool. You
yeah,
didn't just start a business to start a business. You're like, I have something here.
right.
We're gonna take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
And it
Yeah.
was working and it was
Yeah.
getting results and increasing loyalty and revenue for companies. And for people that didn't have soft skills,
Yeah.
they had a system and a path to follow. So it was very exciting.
Yeah.
And I did primarily face to face workshops and training programs and keynote speeches.
That's fun. Yeah.
It was. And then in March 2020,
Oh, yeah.
everything was canceled.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had hundreds of thousands of dollars of business booked. And,
Ah! Was
and
that good?
I'm every single thing except one contract was canceled. And
Right.
so, like a lot of entrepreneurs, I had to regroup
Yeah.
and figure out what I was going to do. And it, so my journey has been zigzaggy. So
As
I
most
stayed,
have. Most, I mean,
I know.
if you see a, entrepreneur has a straight line, then that it's not you won't find someone who has a straight line. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to believe, and
Yeah.
we trust what we believe, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, I created a program called Trust Mastery,
Yeah.
and it's an online training program through Zoom,
Ooh.
and it's training and coaching, and it's fabulous because now I work with leaders and companies all over the world, Seth.
And you don't have to
And
travel.
well,
Well,
I was
you
I
can, but you can also do
can.
it from the comfort of your home, which is nice.
Exactly. I mean, I was in Mexico last week doing a keynote in Cancun at a global
Ooh.
conference, and
Sounds like fun.
it was amazing and beautiful. And the week before that, I was in Toronto, Ontario, and
And then
in
for
Canada.
people that don't know the geography of Canada, I have friends up in Nova Scotia, and
Oh, you do?
getting to Toronto from the Maritimes is no easy feat because there's
Well,
no
it's
direct.
two.
You can't drive there. You gotta fly. You gotta fly.
Well, it's 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah,
It's a big drive. Yeah,
because you gotta go
it's
north and then south and left. And, oh, yeah, it's crazy. You have to go through
well,
Quebec.
it's actually the same flight time to get to Philadelphia because
Really?
I have a client just outside of Philadelphia, not in Doylestown, but
Oh,
right outside,
yeah.
and it's the same amount. So I still do in person, but the wonderful thing about that huge disruption for all of us was that now I have clients all over the world,
It's great.
and
Yeah.
I'm helping people become the most trusted in their industry and helping business leaders and their teams grow customer loyalty through these programs online and doing, grow their business. So it's really fun, and
That's
it's been a
awesome.
wonderful journey.
I feel like a lot of companies have people and companies have realized, I think more people actually, the more I think about it, have realized that because of the pandemic, they've had to pivot so much that they
Yeah.
found something that they never thought they were going to do.
Well, that's what happened to
I
me.
mean, you wrote 2 books.
Yes. Well, I wrote the first one in
All
2017.
right, but then you had time to write the next book afterwards. So
And then this one, Trusted, the proven path to customer loyalty and revenue growth
yeah,
or business growth, I wrote because a lot of my clients were saying, we would love to hear more case studies. And
yeah,
so this book is a collection of real client stories,
I love
Seth.
it.
All
So it's like an
clients.
anthology in the fiction world. It's like an anthology, but
Well, it's a
yeah.
mix.
Oh,
So it's got each chapter is a story that starts out with a business problem that someone faces. Maybe it's leads slipping away
that's a big one.
or
Yeah,
loyalty decreasing, um, or not being able to retain clients in a subscription based business,
that can be tough. Yeah.
flat sales.
Also,
Um,
this is a book you can pick up and pick your story pretty much. It's not you can read it straight through, or you can just say, "I want to read this story today. I like this book." So that you don't have to feel committed to read the whole thing right away. You can find that things that are apropos.
yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
So
books like that.
yeah, each chapter is a story, and then it has starts with a story, and then there's a little lesson around the science and the evidence behind this,
That's awesome.
and then there's a framework and a checklist in every chapter, and then every chapter ends with a section that I call "Making It Happen."
Oh,
So
execution. I love that. That's perfect.
yeah, so making it happen, and this chapter has a customer champion scorecard in it,
Love it.
and
So there's actual. So you can take it to the bank.
take it to the bank. Yes, I
Amen.
love it.
Love it.
And sometimes, the making it happen section is pretty short. It's just
What
ask
happened?
yourself these questions.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's I love books that also have actual stuff at the end. So if you when you get through a chapter, you might forget the beginning of the chapter. Like my issue is I read the chapter, and I'm like, oh, that was a great chapter. I remember the last tidbit. Then when they have a review at the end saying here's what you should have picked up, I'm like, oh, I remember that part. I remember that part. I remember that part. So that's fantastic.
Well, this book is 155, 56 pages.
So it's a weekend read. It's perfect.
It's not even that. I mean, I've had some reviews on Amazon, which I would encourage
Yeah.
your listeners to
We'll link
look
to that
at.
in the show notes. Yeah.
And one of them said, it's the first business book I've read the whole thing in several years. So it's meant to be very practical,
Hmm.
action packed, so that you can read it, like
Quickly.
you said,
Yeah.
over a weekend or on a flight,
It's
or a
actually
train.
perfect for a flight to Toronto.
It's perfect for a flight, yes, to
Yeah, because what are
Toronto
you
or
doing on a plane? You're
Philadelphia.
in a metal box in the air. You're kind of stuck. It's like, let's read a book. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
So,
It's
Natalie, what is it? Because you've done the corporate for a while and you've done the
yes.
entrepreneurial for a while. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind?
Oh, I love being an entrepreneur. I love being able to work with business owners and leaders to help them grow their business. I love it.
That's
It
awesome.
is my whole purpose. What's in my DNA is to help leaders grow their companies, and I love seeing people have light bulb moments, Seth, or
Yeah.
transformations. I worked with one guy as an example in the Trust Mastery program, and he just called me this morning to share with me that he just closed another deal. He's in
Woohoo.
charge. He's in charge of plant maintenance
Woo.
for a company, Seth.
Yeah.
He came in the Trust Mastery program because his manager wanted him to get more soft skills.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of needed. Yeah.
And he is, an engineer, and he is brilliant. However, he didn't have much customer interaction.
Mm,
And he learned in the Trust Mastery program that we have about how critical it is to be empathetic and a clear communicator. And
mhm.
we walk through all these exercises over a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And 30 days after we finished the program, he actually brought a new
Oh,
opportunity to the company.
it's
He
awesome.
became what I call sales sensitive, and he and his manager, who was in charge of business development, closed a multi-year, multi-million dollar deal. Just because,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he got the confidence to talk to customers
Yeah.
about all the stuff that their company
What
did.
a story. What a testimonial. That worked.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's what I love. And I
Yeah,
love being able to work with business owners and leaders who are passionate about growing their business and being the most trusted in their industry.
I love it. So on the flip side, what keeps you up at night besides your adult kids staying out of trouble?
What
I
keeps
saw the eyebrows there. For those audio listeners, she's like, "Oh boy, yeah,
what keeps me up at night? Well, I have this incredible sense of urgency, Seth,
yeah,
to do more, do more, do more.
yeah." Most entrepreneurs do. Yeah,
And I think that's probably what keeps me up at night
Y-
is okay
the gear is
to
turning. The gear is turning. It never
yes,
stops. Notebook by the side of the bed before you can. You wake up, write it down real fast, go back to bed.
yes. And
I
I
love
do
that.
that. Yeah.
You need it. Honestly, you need to do that because otherwise, number one, you won't sleep as well if you don't, and number two, you'll forget by the morning.
Yes. And sometimes it never comes back.
I
I don't know
know.
about you, Seth, but sometimes
No,
it just never comes
it
back.
flies the coop, exactly. So then what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? This can be as woo as you want to get, as servicey as you want to get. Yeah.
Oh, to just never stop.
I love that.
To always continue to learn and never stop.
It's kind of key. You just gotta keep going. And if
You
you're a
got to keep
failure,
going.
you get up, you dust yourself off, you keep going.
Yeah,
I love
keep
that.
going. And, it's a big world out there, Seth. And there are lots of opportunities
Mhm.
and companies that really do want to differentiate themselves by being the most trusted.
I love it.
And those are the kind of companies that I love to work with, companies that are customer focused, that
Mhm.
want to do the right thing, they want to act with integrity, and they want everybody on their team to learn how to build relationships of
It's so
trust with.
important.
Yeah, it
Relationship
is.
building is important, not just in sales, but like in everything.
And everything. I've worked with salespeople, account managers, a lot of project managers,
Yeah.
sales support people, engineers,
Oh, the engineers must be
production.
tough because they're so in the weeds with like the actual work, but they have to have people skills, you know?
Do you know what? I love working with engineers, Seth. Engineers are lifelong
They
learners,
are. Yeah.
and the framework that I've created is based on the scientific method. It's evidence based.
Oh, so they love it.
So they love it because there's a step by step process. And, I mean, have you ever seen a Rubik's Cube?
Oh yeah, they're banning my existence.
Now, do you know how to solve a Rubik's
Oh
Cube?
God, no. My son does. My son's much more mathematical than I am.
Okay, so your son does. Well, if you give your son, my son knows how to do it too. He's an electrical engineer and he
Oh,
loves.
you're surrounded by engineers everywhere you look.
And so, once you building relationships of trust
Yeah.
is like solving a Rubik's Cube. Like once you learn the steps and the principles to apply to become trustworthy and act trustworthy
Yeah.
and behave in a trustworthy way, you solve the cube and you build relationships of trust. And in your company, you build trust equity. And then when you have high trust equity, you perform higher than other companies.
You feel better too about yourself too, which is really
You
important. Yeah.
feel better, and work is fun, and it's productive, and you retain your customers.
Love it. So Natalie, where is your watering hole online? Where do you hang out the most?
I hang out the most on LinkedIn, so you can
Good. I like
find
to hear
me on
that. That's my
LinkedIn.
quiz. That's my quiz. If someone
Yeah,
says Facebook and they're on here, I'm like, really? No, LinkedIn's the
yeah,
place to be when you're a business person because that's where everyone hangs out.
yeah, I love LinkedIn.
It's fun.
It is.
It's getting
Yeah,
more fun now. They have videos in there, which I'm kind of on the fence with. I'm like, kind of like that they have videos. It's kind of TikTok-y, but it's still business related, so it's not that TikTok-y. So I like that.
yeah.
So we'll put your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. We'll put your Amazon link in the show notes. We'll put your successthroughtrust.com, which I love that domain name. Very
Thank
well.
you. That's my company name,
I love that
Success
you
Through
got your
Trust.
company name in the URL. I love that. It's perfect. And guess what? We'll see everyone next week. And guess what? Pick up her book. It's out. Well, when the time this book comes out today.
It is. You can find Trusted, the proven path to customer loyalty and business growth on Amazon.
There you go. Go get it. And we'll see
Thank
everyone
you,
next
Steph.
time.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.